When a chance encounter throws the lonely hearts together, will they be able to navigate their shared grief and forge an unbreakable bond? Or will their past traumas tear them apart? I was curious about you, what you were thinking, what you were feeling. And then one stormy night, our worlds collided. You saved my son, and in doing so, you broke my walls down. Little did we know the night would change our lives forever. My name is Denise Holton. I'm a 28-year-old single mother trying to make it on my own. It hasn't been easy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. My son, Kyle, is my whole world. He's 4 years old and has severe speech and learning difficulties. Long hours of work and sleepless nights have become the norm. There's not much time for dating when you're operating on 2 hours of sleep. And honestly, if I had a spare moment, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. All I can think about is how to help Kyle progress. One evening, after a particularly tough day, I hit the road to drive home. The rain was coming down in buckets. I could barely see through the windshield. Suddenly, a large truck slammed on its brakes right in front of me. I tried to slow down, but it was too late. The car skidded off the wet asphalt, and we tumbled down an embankment. I could hear Kyle crying in the back seat. My heart pounded in my chest. I don't remember much after that. It was a blur of shattered glass, twisted metal, and terror. And then he came out of the darkness like an angel sent from above. Taylor McAden was a volunteer firefighter, strong and silent with eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. Our paths had crossed before, but this time it was different. He was my only hope now, the only person standing between my son and danger. His calloused hands reached for my son, lifting him gently into his arms. "It's okay, little one," he murmured, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers down my spine. "You're safe now." I wanted to reach out to him, to thank him, but my body wouldn't move. Fear paralyzed me as I watched him disappear into the darkness, calling out for help. Moments stretched into an eternity before he reappeared, his face illuminated by the flashing lights of the emergency vehicles. "He's okay," he said, his voice tight with emotion. "Just shaken up a bit." Relief washed over me, bringing tears to my eyes. But then a wave of exhaustion hit me, the kind that comes from holding on to fear for too long. I slumped against the car, unable to speak. Taylor knelt beside me, his gaze intense. "Are you all right?" he asked. His eyes, I saw concern and something else, something that made my heart skip a beat. Before I could respond, another firefighter came to help me out of the car. I stumbled to my feet, my head spinning. The next thing I knew, I was sitting on a bench at the hospital, wrapped in a blanket with Kyle asleep in my arms. Taylor was there too, his presence a comforting anchor in the storm of my emotions. "Thank you," I whispered, my voice hoarse with emotion. "You saved us." He shrugged, his usual stoicism returning. "It was just a bad accident," he said. "We were lucky we were close by." But I knew it was more than luck. It was fate. Fate had brought him to me, to us, on that stormy night. As the days went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that Kyle and I had been rescued not only from physical danger, but also from something deeper, something within ourselves. It started with small gestures, a shared smile, a helping hand, and soon, stolen glances and shy conversations. We discovered a shared love for old movies, cheesy romantic comedies that made us laugh and cry in equal measure. Taylor surprised me with his dry sense of humor and unexpected kindness. But beneath his quiet strength, I sensed a vulnerability, a guardedness that hinted at a pain he kept hidden. What was he hiding from me? Why did he seem so reluctant to let me in? These questions lingered in my mind, unanswered. Meanwhile, Kyle thrived under Taylor's influence. It was amazing to watch. He had a way with kids, patient and gentle. He took Kyle fishing, teaching him how to cast a line and bait a hook. He read him stories, his voice booming with excitement as he described daring adventures. He even surprised Kyle with a puppy, a playful golden retriever that became Kyle's constant shadow. Watching them together, I felt a surge of happiness, but it was tinged with sadness. I couldn't shake the feeling that Taylor was holding something back, a secret that threatened to tear us apart. Then one evening, as we sat by the fire, the truth came out. Taylor was haunted by a past trauma, a tragic event from his childhood that had left him afraid of love and commitment. He had pushed away everyone who had ever gotten close to him, fearing that they would only bring him pain. And then he met Kyle and me. We had broken through his walls, but now his fear was driving him away. "I can't lose anyone else," he said, his voice breaking. I already lost my parents. My heart ached for him, but I knew I couldn't force him to trust me. Love, I realized, was about more than just feelings. It was about understanding, patience, and most importantly, trust. In the weeks that followed, I tried to be patient, but the silence between Taylor and me grew, becoming a chasm that threatened to swallow us whole. Then one night, Taylor didn't show up for dinner. I waited, my phone clutched in my hand, my anxiety growing with each passing minute. When he finally arrived, his face was pale and drawn. "I'm sorry I'm late," he said, his voice strained. My truck broke down, but I could see in his eyes that there was more to it than that. He was hiding something, and I knew it. "Taylor," I started, my voice trembling, "are you pushing me away?" He looked at me then, his eyes filled with pain. "No," he whispered, "that's not true." But I wasn't fooled. His actions were speaking louder than his words. And the truth was, I couldn't bear the thought of losing him. So I did something impulsive. I got in my car and drove to his house. The wind whipped through my hair as I sped down the empty road, my heart pounding in my chest. When I arrived, I hesitated for a moment, then knocked on the door. No answer. I tried the handle. It was unlocked. So I stepped inside. The house was dark and silent, except for the ticking of an old grandfather clock in the corner. I walked into the living room and saw a picture frame on the floor, its glass shattered, revealing a faded photograph of a young boy and a woman with kind eyes. A pang of sympathy shot through me. I picked up the frame and brushed off the glass, trying to make out the faces in the photo. That was Taylor as a child, I realized, and that must be his mother. Who was the other man? His father, maybe, or perhaps a brother. Suddenly, the grandfather clock chimed, breaking the silence. I jumped, startled. And in that moment, I knew I wasn't alone. A pair of eyes was watching me from the shadows. I turned slowly, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw him standing there in the doorway, his face etched with pain. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice a hoarse whisper. I took a deep breath. "Because I couldn't take it anymore," I said. I needed to know the truth. He stepped out of the shadows, his eyes searching mine. "What do you want to know?" he asked. I reached out, my fingers brushing against his arm. "About the accident," I whispered, "about that night." He flinched at my touch, but then he closed his eyes and let out a shaky breath. "It doesn't matter," he murmured. "It's in the past." But I knew better than to let him change the subject. I held onto his arm, my grip tightening. "Please, Taylor," I said, "I need you to tell me what happened." He looked at me then, his eyes filled with anguish. "It's the painful," he whispered. "Some things are better left forgotten." "No, Taylor," I said, my voice firm. "We can't move forward until you let go of the past." He struggled for a moment, his body rigid. Then he let out a sigh and closed his eyes. "All right," he said, his voice cracking. "I'll tell you." And then he did. He told me about the night his parents died, about the fire that consumed their home, and how he survived, trapped and alone. He spoke in a monotone voice, as if reciting words that had no meaning to him. He finished his story and stood in silence for a moment. "That's why I'm afraid," he whispered. "Afraid of losing someone again, afraid of feeling that pain again." In that moment, my heart broke for him. I understood his fear, his reluctance to let me in. But I also knew that if he didn't open up, he would never find peace. "Taylor," I said, reaching out to touch him, "love doesn't mean losing someone. It means finding someone to share your life with, to lean on when times get tough." He shook his head, his eyes filled with despair. "I can't do that," he whispered. "It's too risky." I cupped his face in my hands, my thumbs brushing away a stray tear. "Love is worth the risk," I said softly, "because without love, what are we?" He looked at me then, his eyes searching mine, and in that moment, I knew he was choosing to trust me, to love me. He leaned into my touch, his body trembling, and as I held him, I knew that no matter what happened next, we had already found something precious, a connection that transcended physical attraction, a love that had been forged in the fires of pain and loss. For Taylor, the road to recovery was long and arduous. He had buried his pain for so long that it threatened to consume him. But with my unwavering support and Kyle's innocent love, he began to heal. It was a slow process, but every step forward was a victory. And then one day, he surprised me. He proposed, and I couldn't say yes fast enough. Looking back, I realized that our love story is not a fairy tale. It's a testament to the human spirit, the resilience of the heart, and the transformative power of love. We faced our demons together, and in doing so, we became stronger, more compassionate, and more loving towards ourselves and others. And though our journey was marked by pain and sacrifice, it led us to a place of healing, acceptance, and profound gratitude for the love that bound us together.